warrior and mythbuster Kathleen Wells, the where we distinguish fact from fiction, where data is used to drive points home, and where Kathleen takes the position that Democrats and black politicians have destroyed Black America. Welcome to the Naked Truth Report. Now, your host, Kathleen Wells.
Welcome to the Naked Truth Report. You hear my non-copyrighted music? Well, it's non-copyrighted music because I'm live streaming on YouTube. So, Truth Warriors and Mythbusters, if you'd like to see us in the studio with my in-studio VIP guest, John Woodbury, go to the Naked Truth Report YouTube channel. Do you have your, I know you guys have, some of you guys have your computers or your smartphones, right? You can see us in studio. I'm with my in-studio VIP guest, John Woodbury. And I'm so excited because, you know, I mentioned that I needed non-copyrighted music because I am live streaming on YouTube, right? Even though you guys know I love copyrighted music because I love music and I like to sing along with it. But so who comes to my rescue?
That would be me.
John Woodbury. John and Bo. He's a country musician, artist, composer, writer. And so we're going to be listening to some of his music. And we're also going to, he's also a big time Trump supporter. So hi, John Woodbury. Say hi to my Truth Warrior.
Hello, everybody out there. Thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. So glad to be with you, Kathleen. I really appreciate the offer.
Okay, I really appreciate you being here. And before we listen, should we listen to some of his music first or should we go? What do you think? Do you want to listen
Let's do the music.
Okay, let's
let them get a treat.
Let's listen to a little bit of the music first. We're going to listen to, let's take Red, White, and Blue. This, you know, all his music has a patriotic vibe. As I mentioned, he's a big time Trump supporter. So we're going to listen to a little bit of Red, White, and Blue. Thanks.
Red, white, and blue, colors us together, colors a nation, bringing us home. Red, white, and blue, keep us together, standing so tall, feeling so brave, it's a flag we love to wave. I was born on Main Street, freedom rang so clear. Daddy worked most every day, Mama was always here. Our family went to services, Sunday, rain or shine. Red, white, and blue, it's America, the colors of our pride. And I say, and I say, and I say, and I say, red, white, and blue, colors us together, colors a nation, bringing us home. Red, white, and blue, keep us together, standing so tall, feeling so brave, it's a flag we love to wave. USA, it's America, makes us stand so proud. Let's all get together now, shout USA real loud. When others say it's America, that they will pursue, tell them God bless America, red, the white, the blue. And I say, and I say, and I say, and I say, red, white, and blue, colors us together, colors a nation, bringing us home. Red, white, and blue, keep us together, standing so tall, feeling so brave, it's a flag we love to wave. Red, white, and blue, I pledge allegiance to you. An American promise of freedom and truth. All that we do and all we go through, standing together under red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue, colors us together, colors a nation, bringing us home. home. Red, white, and blue, keep us together, standing so tall, feeling so brave, so fly. We love to. Red, white, and blue, colors us together, colors the nation, bringing us home.
Well, listen, this is, why I like this? Because I want Black Americans to be more patriotic. They don't understand why they should be patriotic. Because they don't know who they are. Black Americans have been in America longer than anyone. We fought in every war.
That is true.
The Revolutionary War, I think the first casualty was Crispus Attucks, a Black man. So, I want Black Americans need to start thinking straight about things, because at this point, we like most of us, or those of us who vote Democrat, hate America. We hate America.
Why?
I mean, you have to ask the people who hate America, but I know, I sort of know because, I was once a Democrat or liberal. We feel that Black Americans feel like they've gotten a short shrift, or they haven't gotten a good deal, or they haven't gotten the things that they deserve, or it's been chaos and bad news the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
That there's racism. In fact, there was a woman on Washington Journal, I can't remember her name, who was talking, she has a book on racism, white supremacy, that there's so much racism and America has done bad by Black folks and blah, 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 Black America. But, we need to change our thinking, because, this is 2018. We've had a Black president for 8 years. And also, if we're doing bad, well, I was talking to someone today and it was like, we were on the right road. Okay, this has been a process. And I believe America is about Black Americans and white Americans reconciling. And with Booker T. Washington, we were on the right process. But when the civil rights movement came, with Booker T. Washington's ideas was taking us in the right direction, I should say. But when the civil rights came and we got with the Democratic Party, it's been downhill ever since. We're regressing as a group of people. So we've got things wrong-headed and we're so twisted. So I would like to have Black Americans to be more patriotic. And this song, Red, White, and Blue, it would be fantastic if Trump picked it up. Don't you think, John?
It'd be unbelievable. It'd be great for the 4th of July or for his 2020 reelection. There's also one you'll probably hear later with American Dreams, which is a super song for all the military services and branches. But Red, White, and Blue would be great for President Trump, and we would be delighted if he'd take it on.
So is President Trump, if you're out there listening,
Please.
John Woodbury has a song for you, Red, White, and Blue. We'd love to hear it on that.
We would be happy to donate it to the Republican convention or to your reelection, which should happen definitely.
Right.
But it's a great song, as you heard. It's very uplifting. It's for every American.
Have you reached out to Ronnie McDaniel? I think she's in charge of the Republican National Committee. Have you reached out to her?
No, but that's an excellent idea. We did have the Texas Republican Convention interested in the song recently, but now that you've played it, probably everybody in America is going to want it.
Well, that's a good thing, right?
Absolutely. Your reach is infinite.
My reach is infinite. Well, John, you're a big time Trump supporter. Why don't you tell my listeners why you are a big time Trump supporter?
Well, he's not the typical politician, as everybody knows. He says what he means, and he means what he says. We get more information from there than the other presidents we had in the past. I like what he stands for and what he does, and the practicality of his office seems very logical to me. And I'm a very rational, logical guy. The media portrays him negatively 90% of the time, which I think is inappropriate. The media is definitely against him. And if they were logical and rational, that wouldn't be the obviously fake news that we're getting. Mm-hmm. So President Trump has done a great job, and I approve of it. And I think most Americans do.
Okay, so the recent thing that we're talking about, or the recent thing in the news, aside from Trump deciding to get out of Syria, is this issue about the wall. And, my show really focuses on immigration, illegal aliens, how it's adversely impacting America. We've got 12 minutes. Well, you listen to the show. So give us your thoughts about what is this we're in the second day of the partial shutdown, and it's because of the wall, the big wall that Trump wants, that his supporters want. His base wants this wall. Give us your thoughts about the wall. Well,
I think the wall is a no-brainer. It's a small cost for a very significant amount of security for the country. We've always needed it, and it's about time that President Trump got it going. I don't agree with one of the senators who said if you build a 10-foot wall, someone's going to get an 11-foot ladder. I don't think if you build a 20-foot wall, people are going to get a 21-foot ladder. It doesn't make any sense. I think there's no downside to using the wall. That, in conjunction with other surveillance techniques and the Border Patrol and drones, et cetera, make our country better. It makes it more secure. And anybody who thinks that's incorrect, it doesn't make, but is illogical. And if Democrats think the wall doesn't work, I would ask them to remove the fences and the gates and the walls they have around their homes and see what happens.
Right. And it's so illogical because I was listening to Washington Journal this morning, and that, you know, all the Democratic callers that call in and say, oh, it's not going to work. Who are these people? All these border experts, all these border security experts. How do they know? They just say whatever. They don't know anything. They're just saying something.
They just have an opinion like everybody else does,
right,
without much basis for it. But if we're going to spend $5 billion on the wall, it's a pittance in as far as the government economy is concerned. Out of $4.5 trillion budget, it's less than a day's worth of what the government spends every day.
Mm-hmm.
I think they spend $8 billion a day or $10 billion a day. So $5 billion for the wall is a half a day's of the government spending. It's nothing, and it's significantly. It's a great idea to secure the border, to give us security, which we need.
Exactly, because, you know, this is the thing that I always say. It's like, why do the Democrats even have legitimacy or credibility to opine on the issue? We've had the Democrats have been in control of the House and Senate and the White House, I think 22 years or 22 times or something like that. And we've had 5 decades since the Immigration Act of 1965. And we have at least 12 million illegal aliens in the country. Some studies say 20 million or more. And so why do the Democrats have any legitimacy whatsoever to even opine on how to solve this problem? This is the problem I have with Democrats. They've solved nothing.
That's true. They're not solving anything.
They've never solved anything. All they do is create problems. And then yet they're the experts on these issues. So the reason why people had voted for Trump is because Black Americans were sick of politicians. They go around and around. If you know how to solve the border, if you want border security, why has this been going on for 5 decades? Why do we have 12 million at least illegal aliens? They don't even, you know, why give Trump a chance to solve this problem that you politicians have never solved.
Absolutely, and that's why, you know, Trump is not a politician. That's why he's doing things which are going to be effective. He's not stuck with the same old two-party stalemate, which it gets nowhere. Nobody's crossing the aisle to do anything. It's half the people believe this and half the people believe that. We get nowhere. Trump is not in that mold, and it's refreshing to me.
It's refreshing to all Trump supporters, I think. And but the media hates him so.
Isn't that strange? It makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. They are so biased that it's embarrassing. They may not see their own biases, which is surprising. I'm a real logical, rational guy, and their bias is inappropriate. It makes no sense.
Well, it says that they're not on the side of the American people. Solutions oriented. They're not results oriented. They want to just keep this process going, this cyclical process of this inaction, continual in limbo, because it's their careers.
Yeah.
That's how they make a living.
They don't offer any solutions. They just complain and argue, and we get absolutely nowhere. It's the press has done us a disservice over the last couple of years, for sure.
Right. Well, you handed me these. Let me put on my glasses. You handed me like 35 famous quotes from Thomas Sowell. Yeah. And this is one that I particularly like. Number 10, it says, "It is hard to imagine a more stupid or more dangerous way of making decisions than putting those decisions in the hands of people who pay no price for being wrong."
Isn't that true?
Isn't it?
What an articulate, erudite guy. He's an economist. He's a very smart guy. And what he said is true. When people have no risk or no downside to what they decide or laws they make, what do they care?
Yes, because, you know, everyone knows that my mantra is like the Democratic Party has destroyed Black America. And yet they never concede to it. They don't own up to it.
No, if they acknowledge that, they'd be cutting their own throat. So why would they shoot themselves in the foot by acknowledging that? But it's quite apparent.
I think it's obvious, and that's another thing that I heard on Dennis Prager's show. We're sitting in Dennis Prager's.
What
studio.
a smart guy he is,
isn't he? He's if you want wisdom, listen to Dennis Prager.
I listen to him all the time. I always learn something from Dennis.
I do too, and he makes the distinction between intelligent and wise.
Correct.
Yes,
and I think he has both.
He has both.
Yes, he does.
And and you have a lot of intelligent people who aren't wise.
True.
For instance, these people who keep harping on racism, white supremacy. They're putting the onus on white people to do something, as opposed to the woman who popularized that term, Dr. Frances Cress Wellesley. She had a list of 17 things that Black folks must do. But all these experts, all these Black experts, intellectuals and academicians who talk about white supremacy, they put the onus on whites. I was listening to this woman, I can't remember her name, on Washington Journal this morning, and she was saying, white people, they're just ignorant about race relations, and they got to do this, and they got to read this, and they got to read my book. And, first of all, you don't understand human nature, okay? Because they're not going to do it. And because it's like, you're asking them to do, it's just not human nature. It's not going to happen. And then also the woman who popularized the term, Frances Cress Wellesley, she says the onus is on Black folks to take care of themselves and to do something. If you see yourself in a pickle, figure out how to get out of it.
That would make sense.
You don't look to others to get you out of a pickle. It's not going to happen. And the best thing, and this is human nature, okay? It's human nature that you yourself work to get you out of it.
Correct.
Okay.
That's what should be done. Even reading Larry Eller's book about it, he makes the same points.
Yeah. And so these people are, she was a Harvard graduate, and she's a professor at I can't remember where at Wesleyan or something like that. And she wrote this book, and she was telling the callers were calling it. So they were perplexed. They were always questioning her, like, why? I'm sure many white people are like confused. It's like, why? We just had a Black president. I mean, this is my thing. If you don't have a family, if you don't have a mother and father, the family is the most important institution in society. If you don't have a mother and a father, this is not white people's fault. Why are Black men sleeping with women, having babies with women they don't want to marry?
I wish I knew.
White men didn't put a gun to your head and make you sleep with a woman and have a baby with her, okay? But they never talk about the Black family. If you don't have a family, you're not going to win.
Absolutely true.
They don't get this. They keep saying, oh, no, it's racism. Oh, no, it's racism. I don't buy it, because we've been talking about racism for at least 150 years, and we're regressing.
Yes.
So that lets you know that talking about it is not how to overcome it. And that's why I don't think you can overcome it. It depends on how you define it. I don't define it like most people, but I think that human nature is all groups prefer their own group. This is natural. And we think, we have 5 more minutes. I'm getting frustrated, but
you're doing a good job though.
I'm doing a good job.
Very good.
Am I doing a good job?
I like it. Yeah. I'm sure other people do too.
Okay. Anyway, in 5 minutes, we're going to take a break. We're going to open up the phone lines. But before we go to break, we're going to listen to the next song, and I'm going to open up the phone line for people to call in, for my truth warriors to call in and ask John Woodbury some questions about his music, about politics, about him being a Trump supporter, about his support for the wall, and also, what is the other thing? About his love for Thomas Sowell and his hate for the Democrats. Is it apt for me to say that you hate the Democrats?
They're not my favorite group of people. I must say that.
They're not your favorite group of people?
No, they're not they're near the bottom.
They're near the bottom.
Yeah.
Well, and and then before we went live, we were talking about Chuck Schumer. This Chuck Schumer. I mean,
it's an embarrassment.
Why do you say?
He and Nancy Pelosi are just an embarrassment to the nation. I think they're illogical. Their arguments make no sense, and it's surprising that the Congress and the Senate let these people lead the other members. I just don't get it.
Well, I think there's something wrong with the other half of the American people, or American electorate, who keep voting for these folks.
They take some of their own and they put them in Congress and Senate and let them get a shot at doing something, but they never did anything done.
They never accomplished.
They never have. There's no requirements for these people to become a congressman or a senator. They have to be 21 years old, I think, and be an American citizen. Those are the only requirements. To be a lawyer or a doctor, you need multiple years of education to take care of just one patient or one client. To be a congressman and take care of billions and billions of dollars and millions of people, you need no experience whatsoever. So this is evident why things are screwed up.
Yeah. And this is one of the quotes from one of the favorite quotes of Thomas Sowell. It says, experience trumps brilliance.
I think we are.
And, you know, and it's true. It's sort of like, what is the word Trump there? You know, it's sort of like apropos because Trump has experience with walls.
True.
And so he would know better than anyone how.
True. I think none of those people have built one thing, or they've never written a check. They've never hired a person. They're not out in the real world.
Right. So I think that, you know, it's very disappointing to see how Democrats are just so wrong-headed about everything. Everything is an emotional argument for them. There's no logic to it.
True.
And that's bothersome. And they keep voting in, you know, and California is particularly bad. You know, isn't this distressing that during the midterms, all of Orange County went blue?
It's strange, isn't it? Yeah, California is its own problem. It's a nightmare.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And
I'm surprised that we have no more Republicans here. It's a crazy state of affairs.
And the traffic, you know, when I drove into the studio, that's like a pet peeve of mine. I always talk about how bad the traffic is.
That's a gridlock everywhere.
And it's getting worse.
No question about it. I don't like to go anywhere because I can't get anywhere.
Yeah, you don't even want to go anymore. It's like, okay, I'll stay home.
Pretty much. It's impossible to drive here anymore.
It's impossible to drive. And, you know, and I'm only 16 miles away from the studio. And when there's sporting events going on downtown,
I'll forget it.
It takes me an hour to drive 16 minutes.
Yeah. I have a motorcycle. I drive that sometimes, but my car, I just literally, you can't get anywhere.
You can't get anywhere.
No.
Okay. So this is the other quote from Thomas Sowell. It says, much of social history of the Western world over the past 3 decades has been a history of replacing what worked with what sounded good. Yeah.
How apropos.
Isn't that apropos?
How true.
Okay. Now we're going to listen to something that sounds good. We're going to take a listen to your next piece, which is American Dreams.
Enjoy.
By John and Bo. And I'm sitting here with John Woodbury, musician, artist, composer, writer, country music sensation. His songs are going to be with Trump. We know it. We're going to make it happen. And this is American Dreams. It's John and Bo, the team partnership.
That's correct.
Okay,
Enjoy.
let's take a listen.
Marines, we're all one big American team, on land and sky and under the seas, protecting all our American dreams. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Armies on the move, taking the ground. Air Force in the sky, just laying them down. Navy's in the ocean, extending our reach. Marines sent for 5, they're hitting the beach. Special ops and Navy SEALs behind the scenes, doing all the dirty work nice and clean. Never stop 24 hours a day, never knowing where they're gonna go or stay. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, we're all one big American team, on land and sky and under the seas, protecting all our American dreams. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Chasing all the bad guys, we'll get them for you. Teach them some respect for the red, white, and blue. We take over when somebody ain't got the nerve, 'cause we bleed these colors, we protect and we serve. Always do our duty and we never choke. Do everything with honor 'cause we have hope. Lead us, make agreements, we seal the deal. Policies and treaties, we keep them real. Gotta keep it real. Ooh, yeah. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, we're all one big American team. Land and sky and under the seas, protecting all our American dreams. If you love the flag on high, if you love the flag on high, see it wave above the sky. See it wave above the sky. We salute all those who died. We salute all those who died. For freedom and American pride. For freedom and American pride. We do what we gotta do. We do what we gotta do. Our blood is red, white, and blue. Our blood is red, white, and blue. No matter what
Kathleen Wells, the host of the Naked Truth Report, wants to hear from you. Just like our borders, the phone lines, well, they're wide open. Call in at 866-870-KRLA. That's 866-870-5752. 866-870-KRLA.
Colors us together, colors a nation, bringing us home. Red, white, and blue, keep us together, standing so tall, feeling so brave, it's a flag we love to wave. I was born on Main Street.
Welcome back. This is Kathleen Wells I'm the host of the Naked Truth Report with my VIP in studio guest and sponsor of the Naked Truth Report, John Woodbury. I'm so delighted that he decided to contact me to provide me with music for my YouTube live stream because he heard me complaining about how I couldn't do copyrighted music on YouTube live stream.
And look what I've done for you.
Isn't that what? I'm so grateful.
Well, gratefulness and appreciation are appreciated.
Yeah, we talked about appreciation.
There's not enough of that in the world.
There's not enough appreciation.
Nope, absolutely not.
And this is why Black Americans should be, it's so funny. Someone on my YouTube channel said that, why would, America isn't the best place to live. I said, for Black Americans, it is.
It's absolutely the best place. It's 4% of the population. It's, as Michael Medved says, it's God's green earth. This is the ultimate place where everybody wants to come. Everybody on the planet wants to go to the United States because it's the best place on the planet.
Yeah, and this is what I want to say. And I've said this before. Let's see. Afro-Latinos are treated like second-class citizens all throughout Latin America. Okay?
I believe you.
Right. South Africans are killing Nigerians for migrating to South Africa. Yes.
Wow.
Bahamians are deporting Haitians. Okay. And Kenyans are building a wall to keep out Somalians.
The world is a crazy place and they're all coming here.
And so, I think, and this is another thing. It's like each country, and there are 54 countries in Africa, and each country has thousands of tribes. So, and Black Americans think that this isn't the best place for them to be. I mean, I think Afro-Brazilians can't even get on the cover of a magazine in Brazil. Do you know what I'm saying? I couldn't have my radio show in Brazil. I don't think so.
This is absolutely the best place on the planet.
Right. And definitely for Blacks, but we're so unappreciative.
Everybody's complaining.
Everyone is complaining. Anyway, but one thing I want to mention is Izola Foster's book. I'm reading Izola Foster's book, What's Right for All Americans. I want to put this up. People can see on my YouTube channel or my Facebook Live page. I'm reading this. I encourage people to read this book, What's Right for All Americans. If you're interested in purchasing the book, you can go to my Facebook, my website, thenakedtruthreport.com. Send me a note and I'll give you the information where you can send off for the book, Izola Foster's book. I also am reading Mark Levin's book, Plunder and Deceit. Okay? That's another one I recommend. Mark Levin's book, Plunder and Deceit. So what was before we went to break, we said we were going to bring up something. What was that, John?
Was this the tipping point for America?
Oh, exactly. I'm glad you remembered.
Well, not that I'm an expert on this of any sort, but I remember reading a book that said once we get to about 400 million or 425 million people, that's the tipping point for America, wherein the resources and the support services and the infrastructure, the crops will be insufficient to support that many people. And we're at 330 million now. So another 75 or 100 million people, that may be it for our great country. We just can't absorb that many people. So that's why immigration is a significant issue, and we have to be concerned about it.
Yeah, and all of Latin America or all of Central America wants to now come to the United States. Can you imagine if we let that caravan in?
That would have been, it was insanity if we had done that. And certainly, Americans are not emigrating to other countries. Everybody's coming here because it's the best place.
Mhm. Okay, why don't we take, you feel like taking a phone call?
Sure.
Okay, why don't we take a call from Brent in LA? Hi, Brent. Welcome to the Naked Truth Report.
Hi, Kathleen. Hi, John.
Hello. Good
Yes.
evening.
First, let me wish you both a very merry and a very meaningful Christmas.
Oh my God, we didn't even mention that.
That was very nice and very well, heartfelt, I thought.
It felt good. And I'm sorry, I haven't even said Merry Christmas, Truth Warriors and Mythbusters.
We have to start doing that a lot more.
Yes.
Absolutely.
The left hates it. But the reason I was calling in was regarding the wall. I am so tired of it, the idea of a wall. I think that's way too small an idea for somebody like President Trump. I think what we need to do is recognize we have one of the potentially largest real estate booms in our history all along this border. We should start a 21st century Homestead and Border Security Act in which we can give free real estate to homeless, to immigrants, to 1,000,001 people, to manufacturing, to storage facilities. We should be building structures all along this wall, along the border, which will act as a wall. And only in those areas we actually need a wall, which is boring and bland, put that. But we have room for just unbelievable real estate expansion.
I think that's a very interesting concept. I've never heard of such a thing. To generate homes or housing for homeless or underprivileged people or whoever wants to, is it a very interesting concept? I've never heard of such a thing. I think that's worth looking into.
Well, in my mind, I've been thinking about this, and it could be townhouses, condos, storage facilities, resorts, hotels, military bases, sports facilities, retirement facilities, and of course, we have the homeless issue. And so you have thousands of miles that could be utilized rather than just having a wall.
Well, I don't have a problem with that. I think it's a very interesting concept. What do you think, Kathleen?
I think it's an interesting concept. I don't know the terrain down there. And I don't know how that would particularly, I mean, I can't conceive of how that would necessarily keep people out.
Because, well, you would what they would be confronted with, rather than just a 20-story wall, would be a 40-story building, 3-4 stories. The people who own the property would have a vested interest in protecting it. There'd be private security forces, along with ICE and police forces. That we could be creating new cities along the border.
I mean, it's just like, okay, it sounds good in theory, but it's just like I see them still coming and going to those towns. Well, do you see what I'm saying?
But the more, again, of course, we're going to have military support and ICE support, but developing this beautiful area, if you go all along the southern, along San Diego, all the way, to Tucson, Arizona, this is great land. And of course, we'll have to be developing power plants and one thing or another. But in the creating of it, you would have a physical barrier and you would have police.
But who would be putting up the money to do this? Who do you think would be
private
funding
enterprise this? Mostly. See, this is where if we give free real estate, like we did with the Homestead Act originally, people will move in there. Private enterprise will move in. Real estate developers will move in. And it's just open to the imagination. Of course, there are going to be lots of areas we need to have a physical wall. But there are a lot of areas you don't even need a wall because you can't traverse it. So that's for the military to devise.
It's a very expensive proposition, I think, for entrepreneurs or real estate developers to get involved with, but it is something I've never heard of before.
Yeah, well, please take it and run.
Very good. It's very expensive. I think it's more expensive than building the wall, that's for sure.
But if I could get free real estate there, I'd start building structures. And this is one of those things we were talking about. Blacks, do they have opportunities? How about free land for minorities?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I hate being called minorities. Blacks aren't minorities.
How about Americans?
Right.
You're right. Let's replace it with Americans.
You know, the narrative is all wrong. We need to change the narrative. That's another thing, how the media manipulates the language, because they call illegal aliens undocumented workers or illegal immigration. You see, it's not immigration. So you see how the media, and they control they control words and their meaning. Like now everyone's a racist. You see, so now no one's a racist as everyone's a racist. Nothing means anything. And I blame the media for this.
Well, it's intentional. George Orwell spoke beautifully about it decades ago. And if you manipulate a person's mind through the manipulation of words, you don't even need the guns.
Very true. Very articulate, very eloquently said.
Thank you.
Well, you've been thinking a lot, Brent. I appreciate it. And you sound like such a creative, innovative thinker. And I appreciate you listening to the Naked Truth Report.
Thank you so much for everything you do.
Oh, I appreciate it. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Okay. So let's see. What do we have? We have 5 more minutes. How do you want to end? How should we end? Let's see. What do you think, John?
Music is always good.
Well, you have another? I don't think we have another song, Jeff. Do we have another?
I have this. Well,
we are, for now. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So we can talk about something. This is the thing that I wanted to say is that, as I said, I listened to Washington Journal, and I think that most of the Democrats that call in say that, oh, we don't need a wall. The wall won't work. Well, the question is, how do they know?
They don't. And there is no downside to having a wall.
And they have no idea that we've been dealing with this problem of illegal aliens coming into the country for 5 decades. Isola Foster talked about it. I mentioned her book. I recommend people to read it. It's What's Right for All Americans. If you're interested, you can go to my website and send me an email. The other issue that I want to talk about is how Democrats have solved nothing for Black Americans. The Great Society was in the 60s, right? And they spent a total of $3.5 trillion into social programs since the Great Society of the 60s. And we have more poor people than ever before. More, kids aren't learning anything. In fact, I was listening to a program coming into the studio, Tom Girardi show, and he was talking about kids in gangs. In other words, Black America is regressing. We had 87% two-parent families. We had 65% two-parent families. Now we're down to 27% two-parent families. And yet, since the 60s, we spent $3.5 trillion on social programs.
Unbelievable. And it's the family unit which keeps society together and makes things work. And without the family structure, things are in chaos.
And all these Black talking heads and academicians and politicians, they never talk about the Black family. Michael Eric Dyson and Cornel West and Joanne Reed, they never talk about the Black family. Never. They never mention it.
They don't focus on the problem.
They're like lost in space.
It's amazing, isn't it?
And they're supposed to be intelligent.
It's like some of the other talking heads on television that I forget, Don
Lemon.
Yes.
Lemonhead.
Don't get me started.
I'm very disappointed. I don't know what's going to happen. We need more of me. We need more Candace Owens and waking up the people.
I agree.
Waking up my people.
And more John and Bo.
And more John and Bo. We're going to start playing your music. Since I'm YouTube live streaming, we're going to play your music at the breaks. And they're patriotic songs. And I encourage more Black people to become patriotic because why not? We've devoted so much. We have been here for 460 years at least. We've given so much to this country. What other country do we have? What other country do you feel that is Black Americans should love America. There's so many opportunities here that there aren't in other countries. As I said, Afro-Latinos are treated like second-class citizens all throughout Latin America. In fact, Afro-Brazilians have been talking about experiencing genocide. So I don't understand what my people's problem is. I really don't get it. Do you get it?
I don't understand. And certainly people aren't emigrating from America to other countries. They're not leaving the country.
Right.
They're coming in.
And so we just got everything twisted in our head. And I don't know what will change that in the near future. Do you? something's wrong with the electorate, because when you listen to Washington Journal, it's all these Democrats that all they talk about is hating Trump. They're fixated on their hate for Trump.
It's true. I'm a little bit tired of it. The news is just repetitive nonsense. There's news is not news anymore. There's nothing new.
I mean, like CNN and MSNBC, hate Trump, hate Trump, hate Trump, hate Trump, hate Trump, hate Trump. That's all it is. Anyway, there's the music, and I want to thank my listeners for listening to the Naked Truth Report. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I can't believe I didn't say that at the beginning. Merry, Merry Christmas. And I want to thank my guest, VIP in-studio guest, John Woodbury, for sponsoring the Naked Truth Report and providing us with non-copyrighted music. I want to ask Black Americans to become patriotic and love your country. Love America. And I'll see you next week. Thanks a lot. Air Force in the sky, just laying them down. Navy's in the ocean, extending our reach. Marines Semper Fi, they're hitting the beach. Special ops, Navy SEALs behind the scenes.